Oh my God, terrified. I had no idea what I was going to do.
I'll do this as long as it's good. I haven't wanted to do this for a decade. Like, what am I doing?
You're just not built for this. And I was like,
this is so sick. I was looking forward to working an entire long weekend.
What the hell is this? Like, seriously, like this is it?
I'm going to litigate the crap out of this file. Did the lawyer appreciate it? No.
This may be delusional or naive.
I don't think that's delusional or naive.
Nobody was surprised.
Oh, you sweet, stupid idiot.
Did it come at a cost? Of course.
Yeah, what the fuck am I learning?
Oh, when I'm afraid, maybe that actually means I'm doing the right thing?
We definitely have more questions than answers.
We're paid to know the answers.
We are. Or to say it depends.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Non-Billable Hours. Before I introduce my guest today, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. I would really appreciate it. And it's free. Today's guest is Jordan Nahmias. Jordan is a former entertainment lawyer turned coach, speaker, and founder of Unstuck Consulting, where he works with law partners and senior lawyers who want extraordinary careers without sacrificing health, relationships, or their sense of self along the way. After more than a decade in a demanding, high-stake legal practice, Jordan began asking a question I think many lawyers eventually confront. What if success and aliveness don't have to compete? I'm really excited to talk to him about that concept and so much more. Jordan now focuses on helping ambitious lawyers rethink how they lead, make decisions, manage their energy, and define success on their own terms. Beyond coaching, Jordan is also a photographer, writer, and film producer. Jordan, where do you find the time? And let's get into it. Welcome, Jordan, to the podcast. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So my first question for my guests is always, why did you go to law school? And what did you initially imagine your legal career would look like?
My answer, I think, is like most lawyers' answers, which is I was smart and didn't know what to do. So I ended up I wrote my LSATs. I was a philosophy major in undergrad.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I loved it. And I was very close with my prof, and he was like, you should consider writing the LSATs. I thought I was going to be an academic. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. I did fine. I applied to schools. I got in. And then that was kind of it.
Where did you do your undergrad?
At Huron, at Western.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you go right into media law, or what was your path
into
practicing?
No, not at all. So I actually thought I was going to be a litigator, and I actually thought I was going to do like criminal work.
Oh.
And because I believed in justice at the time. I mean, I guess I still kind of do, but and then OCIs, right? So OCIs happen, and it's so bright and shiny, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this because like if I can do this, then I'll get a really good job, and I'll be able to like ride off into the sunset one day, and play
That's what
squash.
they tell you, right? They lure you in with the like infirm lunch every day and the taxi chits home and so
the taxi chits. Oh my God.
The taxi chits. So you did get in. You got a good job at OCIs.
Yeah, I got a great job out of OCIs.
Nice.
So I got a job at Goodman's, fantastic firm, very prestigious. I learned a ton. I made great friends. I made great allies there.
Yeah.
So I summered there, and then I articled there, and I didn't get hired back after articling, and it was 2009, 2008, 2009. So like, there's of course like a financial crisis going on, which I could chalk it up to that, but like, I'm not going to. A lot of people didn't get hired back. Job market was meh.
Yeah.
And so, but it was like the best thing that ever could have happened to me. I mean, I had a mentor at the firm who the day I didn't get hired back, I went to talk to her. I was like, I was really upset.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened? I don't get it. I thought people liked me here. And she's like, it's not that. She's like, you're just not built for this. And I was like,
excuse me?
What? Like, and she knew something I didn't know at the time, which was that, sure, I could like do the work. I just didn't want to. But I just didn't know I didn't want to. Or maybe I did, and I was kind of just ignoring that. Of course, my plans were totally thrown awry. But meanwhile, in the year leading up to my articling, so in my last year of law school, I did an exchange in Hong Kong.
Oh, cool.
I also got really into yoga. And I also was taking a lot more pictures. My foreseeable future was kind of sorted out. And people were like, okay, well, you should you should still look for jobs. So I started looking around. At the time, it was only like insurance defense stuff. I took a few interviews. I got like one job offer, and they're like, so do you want the job? I was like, no. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to teach yoga and like make art. And of course, most of my friends were like, you're an idiot. And my parents were like, you're an idiot. And so I did that for like a year or two. And then in that period, I started a film festival. So my background has always been in the arts, and like I've always been a big film nerd. That combined with my interests, I started to think, okay, maybe if I go back to law, I can do this in a way that is more like arts focused.
Right.
And then I had some constraints, which was like, I want to keep teaching yoga. I want to keep photographing, right? And I don't want to work that much. So I was like, okay, I'll hang a shingle. And so then again, everybody's like, you're nuts. Like you have no experience. You don't know what you're doing. And you're going to try to get into like the hardest area to get into of law. And which I'm not sure what entertainment, which by the way, I'm not sure that's true. So, I hung a shingle. And it started off as kind of like a generalist practice. Mm-hmm. So through like networking, I landed a couple like software video gaming clients. So I ended up doing that. And so that actually I was kind of like a part-time in-house counsel for them, which back then, like nobody was really doing.
Right.
So I'm not claiming I invented it, but like, I was just like, you're willing to pay me for X hours, I'll do it this way.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I really learned like licensing through that work. And that's like a massive chunk of entertainment work. And so it just like, basically it was just like this kid's on the street. He's trying to do this stuff. I was like schmoozing my face off. And then after maybe like a year or two of that, I finally got like a really solid film and television client. I went into a entertainment boutique that had an extra office. So I rented space from them. Was there, I did that for a bit. Then we merged. Mm-hmm. Great people, but like not the right business setup for me. Right. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to leave. And then one of the guys there and we were talking, and we were like, let's just go set up our own thing. And so we did. So that's probably like year 7 or 8 of practice. Yeah. And then we had our own shop for, I guess, till I left practice, like end of 2021. And then I realized like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So
that was going to be my question. Like, what was it an overnight realization, or was it kind of all along you're like, I'll do this as long as it's good, and then eventually you're like, I haven't wanted to do this for a decade. Like, what am I doing?
It's more the latter.
Yeah.
It's more the latter. Yeah. It's like when I hung my shingle, I remember thinking like, I'll do this for like a couple of years. Like I'll make some money and then I'll find something else to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I was the best lawyer. I wasn't the best lawyer. I was good. I wasn't the best. But like, it's hard to stop doing something that you're good at.
Yeah. And when you spent time studying for it and spent a lot of money on education for it, and like, it's not a quick process where you're just like, okay, I'm going to take this weekend course, become a lawyer.
You think she just woke up one morning and said, I think I'll go to law school today?
There is a bit of a sunken cost fallacy. I think for me, it was more like an identity thing. It was just like, I have been working so long and so hard at like being this kind of person, like being a lawyer, right? Capital L lawyer. Over the course of that period, like, what have I done? My art practice has basically shriveled up and died. All the things I said I was going to do, I haven't done yet. Plus, of course, I'm turning 40 at this point. I'm obviously having a midlife crisis, right? My wife's pregnant with our first kid. We're building a house. I'm like hemorrhaging money. So like, it's COVID. Like, so it's just like I didn't really know what was going on besides sort of like, I've been putting this off so long that like I can't ignore the signals anymore. Like they're just too loud.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. Like I'm super supportive family, super supportive wife. My law partner was very supportive once I told him. I'm like, nobody was surprised.
Because on paper, I mean, you had what a lot of people would consider a really successful career. Like you said, like up to that point, you ticked all the boxes and really fast. Were you scared to pack it in?
Oh my God, terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified. I had no idea what I was going to do. That's the other thing. All I knew was I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, and for a couple reasons. First of all, like I didn't like who I was in my work. Mm-hmm. It's not, look, the entertainment industry is crazy, but like, it's not just that. Like, it's also like, because every industry is crazy. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's just like, I was angry and like, I felt like I was a bad guy, like demanding things of people. and like negotiating and haggling over stuff that like really didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I chose not to litigate because I was like, this is like the classic thing, like corporate law, you're moving towards each other, litigation, you're moving away from each other. But like, that's not true, right? Like you're moving away from each other a lot in corporate work. We had our daughter on the way, and and so when I left practice, she was about, I don't know, 9 months old. Like that really changed my thinking really quickly on like, look, how am I going to tell her when she's, aware enough for this to be the conversation, that that she could and should, to whatever extent possible, go after whatever it is that like gives her meaning in her work, and I'm meanwhile coming home like hating what I'm doing and miserable.
Yeah.
I just felt like I'd be lying. Could it have worked out differently? Possibly. Like, if I had the perspective I have now, maybe, but I wouldn't have the perspective I have now if I hadn't done what I did then. So.
I was going to say, you wouldn't have the perspective you have now. You might be burned out and miserable and,
probably
hating life, right? Hopefully not. But it's, we take the paths we take for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have no regrets. By the way, I have no regrets like having practiced either. I learned so much, and largely what I do now is taking all the parts of law that I liked and just like using them. But you need hindsight to know that.
Oh, you need hindsight to know so many things. Like, I was thinking the other day about how I just I don't know, sometimes you just think about the past when I was thinking about something that I really messed up at work in, my first couple of years of practice. And it taught me lessons. Like, did it negatively impact my career in any way? No. Was it fixed within a few hours? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I thought the world had ended and I was terrified to, admit my mistakes, like everything. Now, looking back, if I would have known it wasn't a big deal, I wouldn't even have spent more than, a minute worrying about it before I was like, oh, yeah, I know how to fix it. It's just embarrassing to admit you made a mistake, right?
Yeah. And we're also trained to be, as lawyers, I think we're trained to be so averse to error, and it's on us.
Yeah.
And, it bleeds into these other areas of life. Lawyers are terrible negotiators for themselves, but they're really good for other people. And I don't know if that's a rule, but it's funny how true. It's so much easier to advocate for others. So I don't know.
I was literally telling my partner this the other day. I was saying how I work for a very big company that literally pays me to negotiate and litigate on their behalf. Yeah. And I'm senior counsel, so I like to think I'm okay at it. But when it comes to standing up for myself, even if someone cuts me in line, a man cut me in line in Costco the other day, and I wouldn't even stand up to him. I kind of looked at him and said something under my breath that he realized. But I was like, girl, you don't even know how to stand up for yourself in line.
Costco is a scary, scary place.
It's true. I would take a trial over having to fight someone in a Costco line any day. So tell me what you do now and why you got into what you do now.
It's easier for me to tell you the why than the what, but I'll try to do both. The why of what I do is that the most rewarding part to me of law was the relationship building. So the becoming more than just the lawyer. I really valued that, and the conversations and the non-legal conversations. That was always far more interesting to me and far more rewarding because, this is cliche, but you become your client's therapist sometimes, and so I liked that. I knew there was something there, and I'd always kind of thought I'm a lifelong guy in therapy, so I've learned a lot being in therapy, and I've always found the process really interesting. That was kind of why I do it, because it's really rewarding and I get to connect with people on a different level, and I feel like I'm much more myself in this work than I was in law. Mm-hmm. So the what I do is a mix of things. So I have a one-on-one coaching practice. I work with lawyers. You're supposed to have a niche, right? So that's what I do. What I really like working with people on vocational questions. Okay. So it just so happens that a lot of lawyers have these questions.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions we don't like to admit to the world.
Yeah.
We like to think we have all the answers, but we definitely have more questions than answers.
We're paid to know the answers.
We are. Or to say it depends.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It always just depends.
As far as like a sort of psychographic picture of who I like to work with, people who are like entrepreneurial and they're creative and they're sophisticated and they're willing to sit with big questions and like work hard on those questions. And what I'm kind of obsessed with is like what people are meant to do in their work. So,
cool.
because that's kind of like my own question, but it's not limited to lawyers. Like most of my clients aren't lawyers. They're like interesting, creative people who are in some other sort of either profession or just like, I don't know, the corporate job.
Right.
And they're just kind of like, but this is not like, I have a greater calling. I just can't figure out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or they know what it is, but they're afraid to actually do it. Then I do like workshop and facilitation stuff. So that's a little more limited to like, I'll go into law firms, other companies, but mostly law firms. And we'll work on, so what you would call like classic leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And that runs the gamut of like delegation, decision-making, management styles, you name it, like effective communication, difficult conversations, and getting out of your own way. And then the third thing I do is like public speaking work. So it's more like keynoting and that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's about bigger topics, like primarily like courage and like risk taking.
That goes well into my next question, which is something that is in your bio, which is I think one of the things you're about is about how success and aliveness, you call it, don't have to compete.
Yeah.
So how has your definition of aliveness changed? Like, what does it mean to you now, especially transitioning from big law and what am I doing here to creating your own path that makes you happy?
I just got off a 2-week trip.
Okay.
Chaperoning a group of like 140 high school students.
Fun.
Through like Poland and other parts of Eastern Europe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, pretty intense trip, very tiring,
Mm-hmm.
totally fulfilling. Now, and then of course you come home, right? And everything feels boring. And I think this is something that happens in lawyers, when especially like busy lawyers and good lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
we're on deals, and then you're up, and then you go down the roller coaster, and then it's flat, and it's just adrenaline. So you want more, of course, because you want to maintain the high.
Yeah.
And so you do the next deal, and then you do the next deal. And, this perpetual like escalation leads to like a sheer cliff, of course. So I think a lot of people are like trying to avoid the cliff by staying in this heightened state. And don't get me wrong, the heightened state is exciting. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
fun, and you're serving people, and you're making a difference, and you're making good money doing it. I'm not sure that's what aliveness is. I think I think it's part of success for sure. But I think for me, the aliveness is now more, am I like present with what is actually going on?
Mm-hmm.
Am I in touch with the things in my life and my world that are not only giving me like excitement and interest, because we need that, but like are also giving me meaning, right? Mm-hmm. So I can run 10 different deals at the same time, but if I come home and I feel completely empty, then like I'm not sure that is fully the sense of aliveness that I'd be going for. Am I present with my kids? Am I taking care of my body? Mm-hmm. Do I feel like I'm making genuine connection with people, whether that's in work or not in work? Am I engaging in art and like beauty? Am I able to like sit outside and not listen to a podcast and like just walk? Like, does my coffee taste really good? Like stuff like that, right? Yeah. So you might call it mindfulness, but I don't, and that's part of it, but I'm not sure that's all of it. Because I'll tell you, if I only focus on that, and let's say I don't do any work and don't make any money, I also don't feel alive.
Right.
And I think sometimes it takes a lot of work to figure that out. And by the way, that definition changes over time. Like when you're younger, being alive is different than when you're older, of course. So,
of course.
So I think it's, the trap is when you get hung up on the definition you had from when you were younger, mm-hmm. and you try to bring that definition into the future, and then you realize, whoa, this is not working for me anymore.
Yeah. No, it makes a ton of sense. The thing you said about sitting outside and I think it was last week. We were up early in my house, like earlier than usual. Andrew's like, let's just go sit outside. Let's leave our phones inside. Let's go sit outside with our coffee.
Yeah.
Neither of us have to start work right now. Let's just go sit and listen to the birds. And we sat outside in our backyard and we listened to the birds, and we saw we had never seen a woodpecker in our backyard before. We saw two. saw cardinals, we saw, robins, we saw squirrels fighting, we saw all these things. And literally the feeling of that, being in the present moment or awareness or whatever you want to call it, that I looked back on that moment so many times throughout the week when I was feeling stressed or sitting, working away and looking outside and being like, "Oh, I just want to be outside." So I feel like you're right. It can't all be sitting outside listening to the birds, at least for us mere mortals that need to earn a living.
Get your fucking ass up and work.
And it shouldn't be all grinding away at your laptop, looking at, the sunny outside and being like, I just want to do that. But I feel the moments of doing that really carry you through the moments where you want to be doing it, at least for me. And you were saying that, the definition of being alive or feeling alive can change. But so many lawyers, we tie our worth to our achievement, our productivity. Do you find the lawyers or the professionals that you work with have a hard time separating what they accomplish and they're like, 9 to 5 or billable hours, have a hard time separating that out from who they truly are as a person?
Yes. It's not just lawyers. I just before this, I was on a call with somebody who was dealing with this. She's in a different industry entirely, but same issue, right? Which is like, I'm only worth the result that I can deliver. And if, my value is inherently tied up with that. I think that that's a really common thing. I think that it's incredibly hard to get out of in the current state of our society. Like, not to make this an anthropological question, but like,
no, I love anthropology. I studied it in undergrad.
Oh, there we go. Right. Like, so, like we're very used to like everything being on demand and everything being super fast. And like, everybody's obsessed with productivity.
By all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me.
And everybody's obsessed with like being on. And, I get it. Like, it feels nice. Like, just putting myself in the frame of mind of a lawyer. I felt good when a client would call me on a weekend and I'd be like, ugh, and I'd pick up the call and then I would help them. Right. And I felt good doing that. Did it come at a cost? Of course. Right. Yeah. And I noticed that every time in the times where I was like, maybe I won't pick up, I would start saying, well, then you're bad. Right? Like, if you don't answer this, then you're bad. If you don't answer this, they're going to find somebody else. If you don't answer this, you're not the best lawyer you can be. Right.
Right.
And that was a complete fallacy because for two reasons. Number one, it had no impact on my ability to be a lawyer whatsoever, a good lawyer in that.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But also it started to make me like mitigate my own sense of self-worth, everywhere else.
Right.
Right. This idea of I need to be productive or else I'm not worth it. Right. Like I'll flip that on its head sometimes with clients and be like, well, why don't you deserve, the value that has nothing to do with this? Right. Like,
yeah.
Tell me more about what you value about yourself that has literally nothing to do with your work. And I think for a lot of people, that's really hard because it's this identity question. Like, we get so wrapped up in this identity that we kind of leave aside the other stuff. And again, this is different depending on, family circumstances, whether you're a primary breadwinner, whether you're not, there's a million circumstances that would change this. But yeah, it's a really good question. And it's a hard one, I think, for most people.
Well, and rest and being creative are both productive pursuits. Like,
yeah,
you need rest. First of all, you need that rest because that's when your body recharges. But also it's productive in that sometimes I will have a much better time thinking through a work problem or a personal problem when I'm out walking than when I'm sitting down trying to figure it out. Like, if I sit at my laptop and I'm like, how do I respond to this email? You go for a walk, you might come back with the result, or maybe not. And maybe your brain just needed that rest.
You'll probably feel better regardless.
You'll feel better regardless. And it's not unproductive time. Like, I always have to come back to this because I am a litigator and I've, been a lawyer for a while. And I did always tie my worth to my productivity.
Yeah.
My billables. I remember when I was articling, I was this is so sick. I was looking forward to working an entire full weekend on like a long weekend.
What the hell is wrong with you?
On a motion record for a lawyer, because there was like some contested undertakings motion that like really didn't matter at the end of the day. But I
Yeah.
got assigned it on the Friday and I had to turn it in on the Tuesday. And I was going to a cottage for the long weekend and I was like, this is what it is. This is what being a lawyer is. I'm going to litigate the crap out of this file. I'm going to work 12-hour days this whole weekend. Did the lawyer appreciate it? No. It got done, but I was still getting shit from them on Tuesday because something wasn't cited right. And they're
Yeah.
like, I know you went to the cottage for the long weekend, but you really need to dial it in. And like, I literally 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 3 days in a row, because it was a brand new articling student. That's how long it took me to draft a motion.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to the suffering because I was like, this is where I earn not only my right to be here,
Yeah.
but this is where I earn the right to call myself a lawyer eventually.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, oh, you sweet, stupid idiot. But that's what you say, like hindsight's 2020. And maybe I wouldn't work the way I do now if I hadn't had those experiences, right?
You wouldn't know. It's just like when I was articling, I'll never forget this. There was a lawyer, so they were going to the Supreme Court, okay, in the next morning. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing on this file for them. It's like midnight, and I'm at the office still, and I go into the and I write a memo, and I bring the memo to him, to the lawyer, and he's like, okay, you need to do this, 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 and this, and he's like, and also you need to take my luggage downstairs because the taxi's waiting, and I'm like, okay, I can do one of those things right now. I'm like, which one is more important to you? I'm like, the luggage or the memo? And he's like, the luggage. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So of course I take the luggage down. And I mean, at that point I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, seriously, like this is it?
Yeah.
But then of course part of me was just like, no, this is it. Right? Like, you need to do this. You gotta, if they want to get a coffee. I mean, frankly, I'm happy to get somebody a coffee, but like, it's all those little things. And you're just kind of like, is this actually building up to the thing, or is this just like a fraternity hazing ritual?
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck am I learning? Yeah, like what am I learning by taking your car in to get the windshield wipers replaced? Actually happened.
Oh my God,
me.
I had to drop off somebody's car once too, and I was just like, what is this? Is this a thing?
I need the new Harry Potter book for the twins.
That's like a handful of lawyers. Like,
of course,
there were so many little partners I worked for that really would be like, that is abhorrent. I would never ask you to do that. And not only that, but like, yeah, like you need to be learning. You should not be spending your time on that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a very small percentage.
Yeah.
And if you ask most lawyers who practice in Toronto, everyone's going to have at least one story like that if you've moved around enough. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been really lucky to work for really, really amazing people. Even like when I was at Dunbrock, like I was treated so well. Like the partner I worked for, everyone treated me incredibly well. Like there was none of that hazing. And I remember being like, oh, so not every firm is that.
Yeah.
So it is a breath of fresh air when you do work for lawyers who are just like really good people and really good lawyers. And that Venn diagram can be a circle.
Exactly. It can. It's just that I think that for most professionals, that takes so much effort and so much time and like mental resource that like, it's just, and actually even emotional resource, which, is a whole other discussion.
And emotional intelligence.
Well, yeah. Right. Like that, like, it's just, it's rare. It's just rare. It can be done. I think it's just, so many people are just like, you know what? Yeah, that would be nice. But, come back to planet Earth. I can't do that.
Right. And I'm here to tell you that you can. If you're out there and you have people working for you, please don't treat them like garbage, because
it's easier than you think.
They're going to talk about it on a podcast one day.
Exactly.
Do you think that those traits, like those perfectionism traits or those boys club or hazing traits, do you think those are things that are still rewarded in the legal profession, or do you think there's a changing of the tides, or both?
It's probably both.
Yeah.
Based on what I read a really interesting article recently about in a psychology magazine, actually, about New York firms specifically, like in the 80s and 90s.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it sounded crazy. And then they did a little bit of discussion on what it's like today, in comparison. And the sense is that it's improved. But there are still like firms in London and New York where like they have in-house dry cleaning, meaning like you're not supposed to leave, right? Like,
Yep.
So
Send your undies down. You live here now.
I certainly think that based on the people I speak to, at least here in Toronto, I think it's trending in a better direction. But that said, like, so I was in a fraternity. And like,
oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And like the funny thing about fraternities is that if the brother, right, underwent that process, then they're almost certainly going to do the same thing. And then it just repeats itself.
The chain of screaming.
I didn't get hazed very much when I was in a fraternity.
Nice.
So I never really hazed people. I find it like really gross.
Yeah.
But like, there were guys my own age who got really hazed and they ended up becoming hazers. So I think the same thing plays out in law firms.
It can feel like a fraternity sometimes.
It can feel like a fraternity, which is a separate issue. It's a separate issue altogether.
I actually read something the other day that was, and I thought about it in the context of my legal training, which is people who say, well, I had to go through it and I turned out fine, so they should have to go through it. It's like, you didn't turn out that fine.
Did you turn out fine? Yeah.
Exactly. Because it definitely either broke something in you or left some sort of chip on your shoulder or, vitriol in your system where you think because you suffered unnecessarily, you want to see others go through that same suffering. Not to say you don't want others to have the learning experiences.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like I, came up all the way through litigation. And one thing I do think that virtual court takes away is an articling student or a junior's ability to learn from more senior counsel in a courtroom setting.
Yeah.
Because when you're on virtual court, you're waiting for the judge to call your number and you're sitting there working on emails, you're doing other things. It's very different from being immersed in the courtroom from the time it starts until the time you get called and literally having to pay undivided attention to more senior counsel, more experienced counsel advocating in front of a judge. And I learned a lot that way. And so that's not something where I'm like, well, I suffered through it because sitting in court for 6 hours isn't fun, but I experienced that. And I think that others should have to experience that because it was a good learning experience as opposed to I suffered through whatever attitude or horrible thing or hazing and others should too. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Where's the why?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the why? Like you need to see the why in it, or else it's very, very hard to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's both at the early stages as well as the late stages, or even the middle stages of any profession, really.
Well, speaking of culture, I know that you're creative, and you were saying that you gave up some of that throughout law school or didn't get into it as much. But I know that you're way into it now. So how did you get back? Like, how did you get back in touch with your creative self through photography and film production and writing?
I mean, I never really let it die. It just had to sit on the wayside, like until I felt like I could turn to it again.
Mm-hmm.
And even now I'm not, I still, the more you feed it, the more it'll give you. So one commitment I made to myself when I left practice was really to give creative practice much more time and attention. So, one of the first things I did was like I started taking guitar lessons again. Like, I've been playing guitar since I was 13, but I wanted to get like much better at it and like really make a habit of it again. And so I did. And it's very rewarding. Like going back to what we were talking about earlier, if I find like I'm stuck, I'll like go edit a photo or I'll pick up my guitar and like, it'll just like shake something loose. I don't know what it does. Something's obviously going on in my brain. As long as I'm doing something creative, like as long as I'm like, I write like every week I have like a blog, right? So I use Substack. So, as long as I have that going and like I'm playing a little bit of guitar and like I'm working on a picture, like I'm satisfied. Do I have this dream, of course, of like having a studio where I go and like hide for days at a time? Sure. Is anybody in my life going to like actually let me do that? No. Would I be a responsible husband or father if I did? Probably not.
Right.
So I take it where I can get it, but I'm committed to it. Like it's a practice. And like I like that it's called a practice because it's just like a law practice. Like you're always working at it. You're never perfect at it. It's never It's never this thing that you're done with. Like you're just always working at it.
No, there's so much life left, and that's the thing. Like you said, you talk to uh, groups about different concepts, and one of those is courage.
Yeah.
What do you think holds people back from making those changes that could be scary? Like some might look at what you've done and be like, oh my gosh, I would never be brave enough to do what Jordan's doing. Like, what's your message for someone like that?
Well, this may be delusional or naive, but I really do believe that you really can do anything.
I don't think that's delusional or naive. I've been watching there's a 250-mile foot race going on in Arizona right now.
I know
called
about
the Cocodona,
it.
and I've been watching the live stream all week.
Yeah, it's that when you watch stuff like that, you're just like, I'm a weak person. Like, this, like if they can do that, what am I doing here?
But they didn't start out being able to do it. They all had to work towards it, right?
Of course not. I'm going to quote David. Do you know who David White is?
Yeah.
Okay. So so a good friend of mine, a very old friend of mine, who I met at Burning Man.
No way, you're a burner?
I'm a burner. Are you a burner?
Awesome. I'm not, but I know a ton of people who are burners.
Burning Man.
We could probably play that geography game.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
That's so fun.
So he does coaching work.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started seriously considering getting out into law, I spoke to him and he was just starting his practice. I was like, yeah, let's work together. Like, I know you, like, why not? So we did. And one of the first things he did was he quoted David White to me. David White has these books. They're called Consolations. And they're not poems. Like, they're essays on the meanings of words. Mm-hmm. And so, the root word of courage is cœur, which is heart in French. And I think that to answer this question of courage is really more to be like, you need to be willing to listen to what your heart is saying and then stay with it, even when it feels really shitty. And
I love that answer.
Thanks.
I love it.
And like, it's the hardest work I've ever done. And I mean, I'm still doing it, right? But it's the hardest work I've ever done. I'm really lucky. I've had, like, my family is super supportive. My friends are all super supportive. I'm very lucky I had people in my life who saw in me and were willing to tell me, like, Jordan, you can do something else, and we think you will not only be happier but better at it. I had a therapist who would just constantly tell me, like, Jordan, you're an artist. Like, stop denying it. You're an artist. Like, I don't know if I fully believe her yet, but I'm getting closer.
Keep paying her till you do.
How much is it?
$300.
To do it the way I did it, I'm not sure that that's the right way. Like, I really did jump off a bit of a cliff, and like, I shut down my practice in like 90 days, like, not even.
Wow.
Like, it was intense. And I let it, I think I let it go too long. Like, I let myself get, like, way too depressed and, like, way too anxious and way too fearful. People often say, like, the only thing to fear is fear itself, right? And what does that actually mean? What that actually means is that fear is real because it's a real emotion, but what we're afraid of is the feeling of being afraid, right?
Right.
So if we can just learn to, like, recognize fear as a good thing, and it's like, oh, when I'm afraid, maybe that actually means I'm doing the right thing, then it gets so much easier. Mm-hmm. If there's a thing you're resisting, it's probably something you should be, like, doing, or at least, like, looking into. And, does it always work out? Actually, yes, but not necessarily in the ways that I thought.
Right. You might not always get the result that you thought you wanted, but in some way, shape, or form, something comes out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the other thing I would say is, like the word vocation comes from the word vox. I'm big on etymology, by the way.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah. So the word vocation comes from the word vox, and vox means voice, right? And so, like, when you're speaking, when you're doing your work, like, do you feel like you are speaking from, like, a place in you that is really true?
Yeah.
Here, can I tell you one more story?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, please.
So in my second year of practice, I started losing my voice every day.
Oh no.
At work, yeah. And I'd get home and, like, I'd have no voice, and I'd have these terrible headaches. And I remember going to see an ENT, because my GP was like, I don't know what to do for you here. Like, you got to go see a specialist.
Yeah.
So I go see this ENT. So he scopes my throat and he looks up my nose. He does the whole thing, and he's like, "What do you do for work?" And I was like, "I'm a lawyer." And by the way, vocal issues are really common with lawyers because we're professional voice users.
I have notes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like singers, construction workers,
They
lawyers.
use their voice a lot too.
Yeah. And they're almost always dehydrated, a lot of coffee. He's like, "You're going to think I'm nuts." He's like, "But your throat chakra is blocked." And I'm like, "What?"
This is from the ENT?
This is the ENT.
I
And now, by the
love
way,
that.
I'm no stranger. Like I'm well versed in yoga. I'm no strangers to chakras, right? A stranger to
Right.
chakras.
Right.
And I'm just like, "What?" I'm like, "This is not medical advice." He's like, "I know." He's like, "But there is something going on with you where your voice is blocked." He's like, "You need to figure out what that is."
Wow.
And that haunted me for years. And then my voice got better. Okay. And then COVID time, it came back in a bad way, in a really bad way, in a way that like I had to stop taking calls at like 2:00 every day. And I tried everything. I went to like speech therapists. I went to like vocal rehab. I did like a course online for like a year. I did all this stuff. It wasn't getting better.
You literally lost your voice. Truly.
Finally, I had to have surgery.
No
vocal cord surgery. I couldn't talk for 30 days after. It was an amazing period, by the way. Of being silent for 30 days. It's awesome. I recommend it to everybody.
Like a forced silent retreat.
I tell that story a lot because it's like, sure, I probably yelled too much and spoke too loud and talked on the phone too much, right? Like, and that for sure did its damage. There's no question that like, if you keep doing something to suppress your own voice, then like you cannot step into vocation and you can't respond like, literally or figuratively to like when there actually is a calling, right?
Right. My body has rebelled against certain things in my life.
Yeah.
I've ended up in a merge with tinnitus and vertigo and folliculitis and all kinds of things all in one. Cause like my body was like, "What are you doing right now?" And I was like, "I'm just going to keep going with this."
I'm still going to send it.
Yeah.
Like, straight to the hospital.
Yeah.
There was 7 years of my life where I couldn't eat much because I had like really bad food intolerances. I couldn't stomach anything. So I am a huge believer that our environment and our path really does influence our physical health. And for you, like as an artist, as a lawyer, that's huge.
Yeah. It was terrifying. I was like, I might not be able to do any of my work anymore.
Right.
And then it was also the most freeing thing in the world because I was just like, oh, maybe I don't have to do this.
No.
Well, this has been a really great conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I like to end my podcasts with guests by asking one random question. Sure. And well, mine is actually prompted by what you had mentioned earlier, which is you just got back from a trip to parts of Eastern Europe. But if there's one place in the world, because I love travel and I love talking about travel and learning about it, is there one place in the world that's on your list that you haven't yet gone?
Well, India for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I've never been to India. That's probably number one on the list.
Nice.
And then I've always wanted to go to Nepal.
That's on my list too for a trek.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to Nepal.
Cool.
What about you?
My first on my list is Japan.
Japan is so cool.
I have family there and I've never been.
You do?
I do. My aunt and uncle live there and I'm
my God.
I'm like, Andrew, we're going next year. Like I'm saving up. I'm already planning my time. We're going to Japan. When were you in Japan?
When I did my law school exchange.
Yeah.
I didn't do much school.
Yeah.
I did a lot of traveling. So every other week I would go somewhere, right? So I was in Japan for like about a week, maybe a week and a half in 2008.
Nice.
Yeah.
India, would you do like city? Would you do coast like Goa? Like would you just want to do all of it?
I'd probably just want to do all of it, but it's way too big. I think for sure there would have to be some city. Like I really want to see Mumbai. I read Shantaram.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
So Shantaram is this book.
Okay.
They made a show out of it. I'm not recommending the show.
Okay.
The book is fantastic.
There you go.
And it's about this like Englishman or Australian guy who's a criminal who has like escapes to India and like lives in like the slums of Mumbai, and it just paints this picture of India that is so vivid and so interesting. And ever since that, I've just been like completely fascinated with like what is like I got to go there. And then we actually know people who've gone, and they've said it's just amazing, and it's a challenging trip. Like it's it's a very different place.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, does this sound cool.
Well, I hope you get there soon.
And I hope you get to Japan soon. Sounds like you're going to get to Japan sooner than I'm going to get to India. So.
Maybe, but you've already been to Japan, so you're ahead of me.
True.
Jordan, if people want to find you, work with you, have you come speak, where can they find you?
Easiest way to find me is my website. So it's getunstuckconsulting.com. Or you can just look up my name, Jordan Nahmias. I'm very active on LinkedIn, same name on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. I'm not hard to find.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, it's been honestly been an absolute pleasure. So nice to chat with you.
Likewise.
And thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Pleasure.
All right. That was my chat with Jordan Nahmias. Jordan, thank you so much for such a thoughtful conversation. I think a lot of lawyers listening will recognize themselves in what you shared. For everyone listening, I'll include a link to Jordan's consulting website and his work below. And if you think that this chat would resonate with someone in your life, lawyer or not, please share it with them. I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye. Andrew's not here to do something weird, but I have power greens from Costco that I'm going to chug. See you later.